I mean, it's pretty apparent the amount of attention that the millennial reign gets compared to the amount of text that exists in the Bible is unbalanced, is it not? I'll say it again because I don't think you heard me. You guys look like bumps on a log. The amount of attention that the millennial reign receives from preachers and teachers compared to the amount of text that there is about the millennial reign is unbalanced. And I'm thankful that the Lord has led me into it. To be honest with you, I was talking to Tabitha, talking to the Lord, like, am I wearing this out, God? Should I continue to talk about this? And literally, I'm not kidding you, 90 seconds later, I ran into Connie. And Connie said, I am so thankful that you're doing this teaching on this. So I heard so many messages from so many preachers, and I've never heard anything about this. And then she shared with me a little because she just heard someone else talking about it. So it's obviously something the Lord doesn't want you to share. So, I've spent weeks talking about it. You can go back and look at those messages. I'm going to do a quick recap, but I want to share a story with you about a woman named Florence Chadwick. And she was a long-distance swimmer and kind of reached the height of her swimming career, if you call it that, in the early 1950s. She swam the English Channel, the first woman to ever do it to and from, and she broke the record both ways. Amazing swimmer. And you guys know Jack LaLanne, right? He swam the English Channel like pulling boats. I remember that was a little kid. It was a big deal, whatever, right? But this lady did it to and back and forth and did it faster than any other woman had ever done it before on the planet. So then she set out to swim from Catalina Island, which is off the coast of California. You guys are familiar with the Channel Islands? Those islands create a channel between the coast of California and the islands. Well, there's an island there called the Catalina Island. And so she swam from the Catalina Island to, or her goal, her mission was to swim from Catalina Island to the mainland coast of California. And I think it was 22 miles. And my wife and I, a long time ago in 2010, took a huge boat out to the Channel Islands to hike one of the islands and then to kayak around part of the island. And I'm going to tell you right now that it is some fierce, fierce water. There's sea lions and sharks, and it's the Pacific Ocean. The waves are huge. The water is cold. Oftentimes because there's a cold water current that runs along California. It's one of the reasons why the weather's so perfect there, but it creates a lot of fog. And it creates a lot of, low visibility, large waves, things like that. So this lady sets out on this 22-mile mission. I mean, can you imagine? And the ocean, Magali. So Tabitha and I, when we rode out there, we discovered Tabitha gets seasick. It's a great place to discover that you get seasick, right? I mean, the waves are huge on the Pacific Ocean. So we get off the boat, and we walk, we do our hike, and it's great. She gets to feeling better. We get in the kayak, and we're having fun. We hadn't never kayaked before. We're kayaking along. Woohoo! I'm taking pictures. And then we begin to see sea lions. And we're like, wait a minute. Where there's sea lions, there's sharks. They're like sharks' favorite food. So we began to think, oh my gosh, we look like a sea lion out here. So we're like, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We look like professional kayakers at this point. We get back, and our guide is like, I've never seen two novice, amateur kayakers kayak like that. You guys were amazing. Fear is a motivator. So I completely understand. The point is like how rugged this water is, how cold and rough it is. This lady, Florence, sets out. Her mother's in a boat. with her as she's swimming. There's a boat in case she, needs to be pulled out of the water. And at one point, she's ready to give up. And she says, okay, pull me in. I'm done. I can't swim anymore. And her mother says, you're almost there. Keep going. You're almost there. Again, it's foggy. She can't see anything. The waves are huge. She can't see the land. Guys, she's a half a mile from the coast of California. And she gives up. And she's got a world-famous quote. If I could have seen the shore, I would have made it. There's a lot of weak Christians. There's a lot of weak believers in Jesus. There's a lot of us that aren't seeing the shore. We're being taught that we need to walk in a certain way in this life. That being a Christian is following Jesus, and it is. But it's for a goal, for a purpose, for a mission. There's a reward there, guys. There's a reward. You want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with little, now you're going to be over much. There's a reward for your struggle. There's a reward for your suffering. And I want to be like Florence's mother, and I want to show you the shore. I want to tell you that it's there. To keep pressing, keep pushing, keep going. Jesus didn't just die for you so that you could be on this planet and be a nice person and then it'll all be over and you float around playing a harp for eternity. That sounds boring. And I can understand not being motivated by that kind of thinking. And I've been sharing with you guys how, unfortunately, heaven and the Millennial Kingdom and the resurrection and all these things have become allegory. Don't look at them as they're real. They're really just allegory. They're really just, it's just a cool story. But it's more than a cool story. I've been telling you, and I've shown you through the scriptures, that it's real. That there are real rewards for you. And the Millennial Kingdom in heaven, there's going to be, listen, there's going to be a resurrected body, Magali. There's going to be a resurrected heaven, and there's going to be a resurrected earth. And in the Bible, it's called the new heavens and the new earth. He's not doing away with creation. He's perfecting it. And you are going to experience real rewards for your effort. Stay strong. The shore is right there. Keep swimming. Keep swimming. Keep your eyes on him. Keep your eyes on the prize. Jesus, for the glory and the joy that was set before him, was obedient even to the cross. He wasn't obedient to the cross for no reason. There was a goal, a purpose, and a reward. And you know what his reward is? Princess, you're his reward. And he's got rewards that he wants to give you. What we do now will matter then. And I've been wanting to encourage you in that. Like, we hear so many messages, and I love it because I think one of the things that the Lord has used me for, I know some guys give just some, people these deep mysteries, and those are beautiful, and I'm thankful for them. But we also need to know how to walk. But we also need to know why we're walking like we need to walk. And the why is because there's rewards for you, and you will one day marry. Here, well done, good and faithful servant. Here is your rewards. One of the last things that Jesus said was, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to repay everybody for what they've done, good or bad, according to what you've done. Now, those of us that are in him, it's a reward. But as we'll read, Paul says, we'll suffer loss. But it won't be a loss like you feel it now. There won't be a disappointment in it. You just could have had more. And I think it's good. And I think that desire to have more comes from God. You've been given an extraordinary spirit. You've been God doesn't do anything halfway. Does God do anything halfway? No. He does everything completely, fully, in love, with purpose. And we need to do the same thing. We have his very spirit living in us. You know what the fruit of the Spirit is? It's the production of his nature through your life. It's producing God's nature and character out of your own being. He's making you into the image of his only Son. So we are like him. We're becoming like him more and more. That desire for greatness in you was put there by him. And now, as believers and with his Spirit, we can use it for the right purposes. To build his kingdom and to bring him glory. I love we read a scripture a couple weeks ago. Jesus is, when he returns and takes his glorious throne here on earth, is going to be glorified through you. What is glory? God's glory is his manifest power and presence here on the earth. He's going to be manifest over the earth through your life. He's going to give you a place of leadership according to how you stewarded what he's given you now. We need to, and I'm not talking about the one who has the most wins. I'm talking about the one who has handled and nurtured and created and loved and built what he's given you. Each one he's given a certain amount of talents and skills and treasures to build on. I think of this when you guys know I used to paint cars. Well, there's like different levels of painting cars. Give me a second, I've got to get a drink. There's what we call production paint. And that would be, your average car. You get a boo-boo on it. You bring it to the body shop. The guy fixes it, and he makes it look like it was new, like it was never dented. But there's guys out there that we call them hacks, and they can't match the color right. You can tell that it's been painted. So the quality level is to make it look like it's never been painted. But there's things that I kind of finished at my career when the Lord moved me out, where I was doing restoration work, high-end work, really nice paint jobs, really high-quality stuff. The quality level shouldn't be any different. It's just the placement, right? So one of us is given a greater placement than another, but the quality should still be the same. Does that make sense? Right? Just because you are anointed with the gifts of helps doesn't mean that you shouldn't handle it with the same extraordinary spirit that the person who's gifted with the gift of teaching handles it. It should be held at the same level of integrity, of work, of ethics, of honor. It's just as important. When those of you that greet, you are the first encounter at Lion of Judah. You're representing me as the pastor here, and even bigger than that, you're representing King Jesus. You know how many people, they see the church and God as one thing? I mean, God kind of sees it that way, and we're his body. But people will get hurt by the church and then hold that against God. So praise God for our greeters here, because you guys are amazing. But the point is that we need to handle ourselves well. And everything that we do, we need to do with an extraordinary spirit, with integrity. Man, if you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you said you're going to do it, do it. If you said you'll be there on a certain time, be there on a certain time. If you said, whatever you said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. The world says yes and then doesn't do it. The church says yes and does it. Sometimes to a painstakingly, level. We have to keep how many times, Tabitha, have I opened my big mouth? She knows it. I'll do it. I'll be there. And then it's like, because it always sounds good when you make the plans, right? But then when it's time, it's like, oh my goodness, I just want to sit on the couch, or I just want to do the thing that I want to do, right? So we've got to stay in it. So I've been talking again about the Millennial Kingdom and saying that it's more than just a cool story. It's real, and it's a time of experiential rewards. The rewards that I keep talking about, you're going to experience in that millennial reign, and also in the new heavens and the new earth. But I'll save that for another time, because we're really focusing on the millennial reign. As I've been saying, it's a literal 1,000-year reign. It's the second coming of Jesus. He's coming down. We're coming with him, right? I told you there's going to be a marriage. There's going to be a wedding. Revelation chapter 19, we're going to get taken up. We're going to get taken up. But we're not going to stay up. We're going to get taken up. There's going to be a wedding, and then we're going to get clothed in fine white linen. And then in chapter 19, if you read it chronologically, then there's going to be a war. And Jesus is going to be on a white horse with the name on his thigh, with the tongue out of his mouth, and an army behind him, dressed in fine white linen. Who's going to be his army? We're going to be his army. We're going to partner with him, wiping out his enemies. We're going to partner with him for 1,000 years. 1 million years, it's eventually going to be way longer than that. But for 1,000 years, he's going to perfect this which he's created. We're going to drive out all of his enemies. We're going to drive out, we're going to help him restructure. Last time I preached, I talked about Jesus as the King of Kings. And then I talked about kings of the earth, resurrected kings. We'll be resurrected kings teaching the kings of the earth how to release God's judgments and laws and intentions over the earth, restoring his kingdom right here on the earth. And it'll know no end. This will be perfected. And it'll take a millennium is why I think. It'll take 1,000 years for this to happen. We've had 6,000 years to screw it up. It might take some time to get it back into order. He could just come and do it like that, but he doesn't want to come and do it like that. Philip, when your kids were little, you could have went out and mowed the grass and done it faster and better. But you let your kids mow the grass because you wanted them to come up, right? So he's going to let his kids mow the grass. I love this analogy. Right now, we get 70 years, 80 years in our strength, right? Right here on the earth. I know, what did you say, Denny, you're shooting for 120? Yeah. So even 120 is a vapor. But that's just like an internship to get us ready to take the seat. So right now, we're all just in an internship. And what do you do when you enter an internship? You work really hard. You really learn and pay attention to detail. Why? Because you're trying to get that job. Trying to get that job. Trying to earn those rewards. So I laid that down. We're going to come back with Yeshua in the second coming. He's going to wipe out his enemies. Satan's going to be bound and caged for 1,000 years. So we'll no longer deceive the nations. And we're going to release his perfect glory. I told you we're going to be like sanctified Supreme Court justices. Measuring and judging the laws and releasing the law and building a new constitution. And what do you call it? A theocracy. Releasing his kingdom over the earth. But now I want to kind of move forward, and I want to begin to talk about the reality of the rewards. I want to begin to establish the reality of the rewards. I've talked, in the earlier portion, again, about this allegorical concept that entered into the church. And when Brian was here last week, the guy's a genius. We were talking, and he was able to give me like names for the things that I already knew. But it's always nice to have a name to understand where it comes from. So Christoplatonism. Has anybody ever heard of that? Yeah, Christoplatonism. So Plato, you guys have heard of Plato, right? So he was a great thinker, philosopher of his day. One thing the Greeks did is they hated the flesh. And they thought anything fleshly or physical was garbage. So they created these demigods. They're these half God, half humans that, because God, the actual spirit realm couldn't really connect with the physical realm because this is trash. But the reality is this isn't trash. God created it and said it was, he didn't say it was junk. Jesus is going to restore all things. So this Christoplatonism has entered into the church. There was a man named Philo. Have you ever heard of Philo? He was another philosopher that really influenced St. Augustine, and some of these other early, Origen. I've talked about Origen in like 150 A.D., who was really impactful in this allegorical concept of the church. And because of that philosophy, and we don't even know where it comes from, right? It's just what the church has always done. It was always what I've taught. It's just what I know. But when you read the words for what they are, it's a whole different idea that you receive from it, right? But so now I've received this actual concept of Christoplatonism, and that's what brought about this whole allegorical concept. I mean, if we're actually real in a lot of our thinking and concepts of the resurrection, we think it's an allegory. No, you're going to get a real, actual, physical body. Because you're going to have a real, actual, physical assignment to carry out right here on this earth for 1,000 years. And you're going to be gifted and rewarded for what you did now, and you're going to experience it then. So I want to move into, we're probably not going to get too far in it. I'm just stretching this out, Denny. I just want to keep talking about it. The more I just keep digging into it, the more I'm like, oh, wow. The more it's like giving life to my faith. The more it's like I can see the shore. There it is. I'm going to keep swimming. It's hard, but I'm going to keep kicking and swimming. And I can tell you I'm not a fast swimmer. I'm very slow. But I'm like a bulldog. I bite a hold of something. I don't let it go. I'm not letting it go. So we're going to keep pressing in this. Now that I've established that there's a millennial kingdom to come, let's begin looking at the reality of eternal rewards. The reality of eternal rewards. Let's look at what the Tanakh says. The Tanakh is Hebrew for the Old Testament, Hebrew Bible. So your Old Testament in Hebrew will be called the Tanakh. And I won't get into too much of what that means. Someday maybe I'll redo my Hebraic roots class and you can learn about it. But let's go to the scriptures. I'm going all the way back to Deuteronomy, even to the Torah. Now, one thing that we see in the Bible over and over again are typological concepts. Now, this is reality. God really delivered Israel out of Egypt. He did it by the blood of the Lamb with a mighty outstretched hand. He stood the Red Sea up like walls, and Israel walked through it on dry land, and that was real. But it's also a shadow and a type. And we see these realities of these shadows and types all through the Bible. So I want to look at this shadow and type. I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about this next week. So definitely be here. Then it shall come about when the Lord your God brings you into the land which he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you great and splendid cities which you did not build, and houses full of all good things which you did not fill, and hewn cisterns which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you eat and are satisfied. Now, the promised land. I'm sure when I say the promised land, a lot of you know exactly what that shadow is, right? What's the promised land shadow? Heaven, right? The thing to come. This is a shadow of what's to come. There's going to be cisterns here on the earth in the millennial reign that you didn't dig. But Jesus is going to set you over it. There's going to be cities still left here on the earth that you didn't build. But Jesus is going to release you over it. I'm going for 10. I'm going for 10. There's probably a higher level than that, but I see 10 in the scriptures I'm going for. There's going to be vineyards and olive trees that we didn't plant, but that we're going to cultivate. We're going to eat from and be satisfied, completely satisfied. And this speaks of this kingdom to come. Please be seated. Again, as I shared, there are 25 to 30 chapters in the Bible that either speak specifically and directly of the millennial kingdom or in a shadow and type. Probably more on the 30 side, but it's depending on how people translate it. It's the Bible. It should only be, or not translated, but as you know what I mean. And it's only, one way to interpret it. Interpretation, that's what I mean. Ecclesiastes. We know this man, right? He did everything under the sun. King Solomon, he slept with all kinds of women. He drank the finest wines. He ate the finest foods. He had the finest clothing and gold and silver and built, just massive structures. He built the temple. God had him build the temple. He did all of these things. I think, what is wisdom? Wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge to a situation. So, how do we normally gain wisdom? A lot of the gray-haired guys in here, we know how we've gained wisdom. We've gained wisdom with experience. So I kind of wonder if part of the reason why Solomon wasn't so wise is because he didn't experience so much. Because he experienced so many things, he learned a lot and then was able to apply it to his life. That's what wisdom is, right? We get revelation or knowledge. That's great to have revelation and knowledge, but what do you do with it? That's where wisdom comes into play. So Solomon, the wisest man next to Yeshua to ever walk the earth, he says the conclusion, after he'd done all this stuff, said everything was vanities of vanity, right? Everything was pointless and worthless. Nothing new under the sun. He said when all has been heard is fear God and keep his commandments. Because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment. Everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. He's going to reward you for whatever you did. It doesn't matter who you are. If you believe God exists or not, he's going to judge you one day. You're going to stand before him for everything that you did, good or bad. Now, what would be the point of Solomon sharing this? If it was allegorical, what would be the point of you worrying about what you did, good or bad? Hey, you're cleansed in the blood of Jesus. You're saved through the blood of Jesus. Look, your salvation is free and doesn't depend on your works, right? We can all agree about that. You're saved because of what Jesus did, right? He chose you. You didn't choose me. None that the Father has given me will I lose one. But what you do with that is up to you. That's where your free will comes into play. That's where your free will comes into play. He chose you. Your salvation isn't dependent on you. He chose you. But what you do with that afterwards, that's up to you. But you're going to stand before him one day. And you're going to be rewarded for the things that you've done. Now, praise God, Jesus took the curse out of the way. It's like when we read the law now, we can remove the curse. And we can see and receive the blessing. If you do these things, you'll be blessed. No longer, if you don't do these things, then you'll die. I mean, in a sense you will because of relationship. But anyways, for everything that we do, I mean, it's not allegory, guys. It's real. There's going to be rewards to come for you. That's the point of this, is I'm establishing the reality of the rewards. We're looking at what the Tanakh says, and then we're going to look at what the New Testament says, and then we're probably going to wrap up for the night, and then I'll begin to express like how we earn the rewards. What are these rewards? What is the crown of life? What does it mean to be a pillar in God's temple? What does it mean that he's going to write the name of the city of God on me? We're going to look at those things. These are experiential rewards, and they have a meaning. This is out of Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. I love this. It's 1 through 3. I love verse 3. Now at that time, Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise. And there will be a time of distress, such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. It's end times language, right? It's like just Jesus getting ready to come back. And at that time, your people, everyone who was found written in the book, what book? The Lamb's Book of Life, will be rescued. You'll be rescued. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake. It's the resurrection. These to everlasting life, but others to disgrace and everlasting contempt. Those who have insight will shine brightly like the brightness of the expanse of heaven, and those who lead the many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. This doesn't just mean you're going to float up there and be a bright light for no reason. That wouldn't be of any value, would it? This is talking about God releasing glory and honor over you. The God that made you, the Father of the Lord Jesus Christ, is going to release glory and honor over you. We're going to look at those things to come. It's real. Can you imagine standing before him and him releasing glory and honor over you? You're going to shine like the stars. You're going to shine like the stars. King David wrote this, "Depart from evil and do good, so you will abide for how long? For how long? Forever. For the Lord loves justice and does not forsake his godly ones. They are preserved for how long? For how long? But the descendants of the wicked will be cut off. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it. For how long?" This isn't allegorical language, guys. We're going to inherit a real land and dwell in it forever. Next week, we're going to get into Revelation 22 a little bit. You realize we're not going up to God, but he's coming down to us? It's pretty interesting, right? Matthew, blessed are the poor in spirit. So I talked about just in the Sermon on the Mount, there being mention of 9 rewards. It's actually just in the Beatitudes. Are you guys ready for this? So let's count them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. 1. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. 2. Blessed are the gentle, the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Are the meek inheriting the earth? No. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Remember when we just read from Deuteronomy? You're going to eat and be satisfied. How many of us eat and we're never satisfied? We're going to be. Blessed, where are we at? How many? 4. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Oh, you don't yet know who you're going to be because we can't see him. But when we see him face to face, we're going to know, we're going to be like him because we're going to see him for who he is. We're going to see God, and that is the ultimate reward. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You have it now, and you're going to experience it more fully then. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. Where is your reward? And what is it? It's huge. And when you realize this, when you grab a hold of it, when you see the shore, you'll be able to handle the persecutions. And when people say all kinds of false things about you. And like Paul, when you're in prison and you don't belong there, you'll be able to say, oh, these are temporary light afflictions, not even worthy to be counted, measured to the eternal glory that's set before me. Jesus didn't just save you right now to make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. He promised you hardship, struggle, suffering, challenges. The road is narrow that leads to heaven, that leads to life, and few will find it. But I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. That doesn't mean your reward now will be great. This is interesting. So, expect nothing in return. Expecting and return in the Greek, I'm going to do my best to say this Greek word, okay? Don't make fun of me because it's probably not going to be right. Apelpiznotes. Apelpizontes, which more precisely means to despair of. So it's like a double negative. It's saying you won't despair of the money that you lost when you lent. And you won't despair that you're not getting anything in return because you'll know that your reward is great. Like, it's really hard to, if you don't know that your reward's going to be great, it's really hard to bless your enemy. It's really hard to love your enemy if you actually don't believe that there's a reward for it. Again, Jesus didn't just save us, fill us with the Spirit to be on this planet and be nice people. He didn't tell you just to be a nice person for no reason. That's what Buddha tells you. That's what all this other garbage tells you. Is to be nice for no reason. No, Jesus is saying be nice because I'm going to raise you up. If you follow me and walk like me and you abstain, if you love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself, if you do that, then there's going to be a great reward for you. I'm going to pour out blessing. Elder Bruce, test me in this and see. I'm going to pour out a blessing on you that you can't contain. No, it's not now, because faith isn't for now. Faith is for then. Faith is loving, trusting, and believing that God is good and he's got something good for you. And that causes you to move forward and do something that you're supposed to do because you know that you're going to reap from it. There's a hope involved in it. And if you have no hope, and you think that the hope that you have is to float around and do nothing forever, you won't do anything now. So you need to know that there's a shore ahead. Keep swimming, keep kicking, and you're going to be blessed. And you're going to have a reward in heaven from your Father, and he gives good gifts, and he loves to give gifts. And you should desire them because he desires to give them to you. For the Son of Man is going to come in the glory of his Father with his angels. and will repay every man according to his deeds. We walk around this earth, and the reality is we see a lot of rich people doing a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing. King David said, don't be jealous of that, because they're going to stand judgment one day. And if you really believe that and really believe that there's something good to come for you, it'll help your heart stay clean. It'll help you not worry about what they're doing. There's something good coming for us, guys. This is real. The Millennial Kingdom is real. Eternal rewards are real. It's not just a fantasy, a story. It's not just some cool thing to keep you going. No, it's real. It's a real thing to keep you going. Keep kicking. The shore's right there. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial. For once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life. I went too far because now I'm getting into the crown of life. I'm going back. Go back. Just forget you saw that. Objection. We'll get to that later. Oh, no. That might have actually been. Let me see. No, that is. Okay. We can read that. I'm going to talk about the crown of glory and what that exactly is. So I didn't realize. So a little bit, now I'll share with you that, like the crown of glory, right? It's a crown of honor, of glory. The Lord's going to crown you with that. It's a real reward. Uno más. For my Hispanic-speaking friends, you guys, it means one more. According to the grace of God, which was given to me, like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, and another is building on it. I'm building on Paul's foundation right now. I'm building on Rabbi's foundation right now that he laid here. I'm keeping it going. And, the Lord willing, he'll raise somebody up through me that'll keep building the foundation here that's being laid. We're all just building on another man's foundation. But each man must be careful how he builds on it. For no man can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Yeshua HaMashiach. That's the foundation that's been laid here. I promise you that. The reality of who he is. Yeshua the Messiah. The Jewish king. King of the Jews over his head, right? The one that celebrated Passover and became the Passover lamb. Died on what day? Passover. He could have died on any other day. But he was crucified on Passover, right? The foundation. Now, if any man builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each man's work will become evident for the day. What's the day? When we read the day, it's the day of judgment. It's the day. The day will show it because it is to be revealed with fire. And the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. Remember I talked about quality. Just because you do something, because you mow grass, and another person, is a white-collar worker and runs a company, the quality of the work is what counts. I love it. God doesn't care about, our performance. He expects us to be completely loyal to him and love him. That quality. Giving it everything that you've got. It's what the quality is. All of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Quality of each man's work will be tested. Uh-oh. Let me go to my notes. I don't know what happened there. We got a little high. Be revealed by fire, test the quality. If any man's work which he has built on it remains, he will receive a reward. This is talking about at the judgment day. And if your reward is just to float around in heaven and not really experience anything, that's not very encouraging, is it? Sounds pretty boring, doesn't it, Carlos? I know you like to swing a hammer. It's his favorite tool. If he doesn't have a hammer, whatever's in his hand will be like a hammer. If any man's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, yet so as through fire. So again, I'm not talking about salvation. I'm not talking about salvation, but I also want to be very clear there are going to be different levels of glory. And we're going to look at that. There's going to be different levels of honor and glory in heaven. Now, you won't be jealous of anybody. It won't cause despair in your life. It won't cause envy or anxiety or any of that stuff. You'll be able to deal with it. You'll be satisfied with what you have. But you could have had more. And wouldn't it be nice to have the more? God desires to give you the more. He just longs to give you the more. Now you'll be saved, but it'll be as through fire. And, we're going to talk about these things, the motivations, right? Like, I'm at a place now, and I pray that you are as well, the self-reflection, the always looking at why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why do I say that thing all the time? Why is there nervous language coming from me? Why am I fidgety? Why am I bouncing my foot? Why did I say that thing to that person? What was my motivation? It felt like the right thing to say, but after I said it, it didn't feel very good. So what was my motivation in it? Like, did I bring correction to that person because I actually wanted them to do better? Or was it because they were irritating me? Like, these things that we need to reflect on and look at. These are things that will be built. Like, what you said might have been right. But the way you said it, or the heart which you said it from, might have been wood, straw, stubble. Excuse me. And it'll be burnt up. So what you said might be right. But we've got to, always be examining ourselves. Paul said, if we examine ourselves, then we won't have to be corrected. If we examine ourselves and discipline ourselves, then we won't have to be disciplined. I don't want to be disciplined. The disappointment of the Father, And I want to bring balance to that because he loves you. He's never actually disappointed in you. But, it's because of his perfect love that I want to do better because he loves me perfectly, and he deserves that. Behold, I am coming quickly. One of the last things that he said. I mean, if you're a man, if you're the God-man Jesus Christ, and one of the last things that you say is, behold, I am coming quickly. I mean, literally, the last chapter in the Bible. The last book, the last chapter. There's only about, I think, 10 more verses maybe or something after this. Like literally one of the last things he says, behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me to render to every man according to what he's done. Jesus doesn't say things for no reason. He didn't just say that I've got a reward for you allegorically, just because it sounded cool and it might motivate you. He said, I've got a reward for you because he's got a reward for you. Many rewards. These rewards are real, and they're going to be experienced in the Millennial Kingdom and on. What you do with your life now, the Torah, first 5 books of the Bible, is instruction for Israel on how to live on this earth. Had nothing to do with the afterlife. Nothing. The New Testament is instructions on how to live on this earth to prepare yourself for the thing to come. Jesus has rewards for you. And I just want to tell you, keep kicking, keep swimming. The shore is right there. You're so close. Keep going. Dig deep inside. Grab a hold of Jesus with all that you've got. Look, gaze on his eyes of fire. Ask him to show you the reality of the rewards that he has for you. Ask him to give you just a glimpse of what that means, and he will. And when you get a hold of it, when he gives you that revelation, when he gives you that insight, oh my gosh, there won't be any more pew Christians. We'll be running, burning, storing up treasures in heaven. It's not just, I know it sounds really cool, but it's more than just a cool sounding saying. It's a real thing. You can store up treasures in heaven where moth can't touch it, rust can't touch it, and thieves can't touch it.